So we are here today with Tim Kane, RN of Medical Legal Connection. I thought it'd be important to get some feedback from Tim about what his company does, why it's important, and how it's integral to the litigation process, and what kind of help he does for us. So Tim, how long has your company been in business?
We have been in business since around 2011.
And what do you guys do?
We basically support personal injury clients, medical malpractice clients. We support and report on their cases for various attorneys.
Okay, so what does that mean?
I attend, and my nurses in my organization, we attend about 20 to 30 independent medical exams a month, and we report back on the exact contents that occurred in the exam, and we're available for any questions that an attorney can have on that exam.
And so is it correct that I was your first ever official client back in 2011?
Absolutely. I did some marketing. You answered a cold email. They say that can be good or bad, and it worked for us, and our relationship we're in 2023 and in 2024.
Now, we used to have our paralegals attend these defense medical exams. Now, we don't call them IMEs, we call them DMEs because we think there's a difference with them. But what is the difference between having a paralegal attend or a nurse attend?
Oh, there's a couple of huge differences. The nurse that attends the IME or DME, they're defense medical exams. You never see the word defense medical exam, but that's what they are. The nurse basically is independent. The nurse doesn't have any interest in the game of the case or anything like that, where your paralegal does. We head to the exam, we give an independent view of what occurred in the exam, where the paralegal would hope that their employer, has an advantage, and their opinion, although not medical as well, would not be viewed as highly as a nurse's would.
And so what kind of areas do you cover right now? Where do you serve?
Right now we're serving Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, New York City, and Long Island. And we have nurses available in my organization through the whole country, but those are my primary cities. And like I said, we're averaging about 20 to 30 IMEs, DMEs a month right now.
And so we've been through this before, where sometimes a medical examiner will attempt to go and cross the line, maybe get like a second deposition almost, having people sign statements or give explanations of things. How do you handle that?
I have a process in place that nixes that right away. We decline any paperwork. All my staff will decline any paperwork requests that a doc has. And anytime it turns into a second deposition, we immediately intervene or interrupt and make sure that doc sticks with the mechanism of injury. We will make sure that they don't ask questions such as, how fast were you going? Do you have people in your car? I will always say this. I'll say, Dr. Jones, Mrs. Smith has an attorney that really wants us to have you stick with the questions that pertain to the mechanisms of injury and ask that you ask a medical question. That's my standard.
Now, once the exam is done, you prepare some kind of a short note or report?
I do a full narrative. These exams are histories and physicals. I'll give you a complete narrative from the history, and then I'll give you a complete narrative of the exact exam and what the doctor performed, what tools he used or did not use in the exam, and his demeanor in the exam, if he was a little intimidating or just made the client uncomfortable. I will always add those as well.
And do the doctors ever have somebody else in the room with them as well?
Quite often they do. They have a nurse or another secretary in the room. It's like everybody has their witness. Personal injury clients have me, then they bring theirs in for theirs. But yeah, they do.
Now, besides you attending these things, how many nurses do you have working with you right now?
In my whole organization, in the Buffalo area, I have like 4 to 5, but I would say we probably between 10 to 12 between here and New York City.
And tell us, now, one thing that we couldn't do is if we had one of our attorneys appear, which sometimes they used to, or the paralegals, we wouldn't really be able to call them to testify if there was a discrepancy in what the doctor is saying the test showed versus what you witnessed it showing. Do you also provide services like testimony in court if needed or affidavits?
Absolutely. I've actually signed a few affidavits. This seems very minor, but in a legal world, this is huge. I have attorneys ask me to sign affidavits all the time on the devices that are used in the IMEs, and I will come in and sign the affidavit, and they ask me if I'm willing to testify or any of my nurses are willing to testify, and we will come in and testify as requested.
So sometimes the doctors might say they use like a goniometer, for example, when they don't. What's a goniometer?
Goniometer is a measurement of range of motion, and a lot of times in the proper medical exams, goniometers are used in a certain way. And a lot of docs will just they'll eyeball a goniometer, they'll stand across the room and ask someone to bend forward, do a lateral bend, do a rotation, and no goniometer or any measuring device. And I will always ascertain that and put that on my report. And if the attorney wants an affidavit on it, and a lot of times they do, I offer it.
And then, so if you do attend one of these exams for our clients, what can somebody expect? Is it like an email to you, a call to you? How do we engage you, first of all?
What usually happens is I receive an email from an attorney or a paralegal, and I always ask for a bill of particulars and a copy of the notice and contact information for the client. We call the clients personally the day before just to confirm and introduce ourselves, answer any questions that a client may have upon what may happen at the IME, and set up a time to just meet in the waiting room and go from there.
And then do you often deal with clients who are either worried or anxious or concerned? How do you handle that?
Oh, that's probably a majority of the clients. And what they feel at the end is they feel relieved when they do have a nurse witness with them, because that we're on their side. And how I handle that is I explained it to them that this is not supposed to be like your deposition. And this is, it's a doctor's, exam, but he just can't treat you. He'll ask you a bunch of questions: how you got hurt, what kind of treatments you have anything, helped, and what hasn't helped. And we do an examination and we go from there. And I reassure them that if anything, it goes awry, that I'll interject.
And what is the typical time frame for when you attend the exam until when your report is ready and furnished to the attorneys?
I try to get them within 30 days is usually my turnaround. Max 30 days, maybe 2 weeks.
And if there's a rush, you work on.
I can do a quick rush. I've had that happen a few times. Yeah,
okay.
With 24 hours in.
Then have you ever had to call the law office or the attorney from the exam or from the exam room if things were trying to get pushed, the envelope was being pushed?
Yes, because a lot of times this used to happen years ago. They used to not allow me to come back, and I would just say, you need to give me a minute. I need to call their attorney and just inform them. And a lot of times I don't even get to that, because then they'll say, oh, never mind, come on back. Or it gets onto the paperwork issue, like, well, I'm not going to see them if they're not going to fill out on my paperwork. I'll say, I just need a minute to call my attorney, and then I'll let you know. Then all of a sudden it's resolved before the phone call's even made. But I do have that. I do keep the numbers on for standby to talk to an attorney.
And there are some doctors who are notoriously more difficult than others, I assume?
Oh, there's very much so. And what I feel about them is that my presence there keeps them honest, because if they're bothered by me, my response to that is, what are you worried about with me being here? If you're just going to be this upfront, total ethical exam, I should be no intimidation in the room. But yeah, I have had quite a few physicians just not give me the time of day or show me that they're not too happy with my presence there.
And then, so after you've done this for a while, have those doctors kind of gotten used to the fact that you're there and that they have to play by the rules, they can't overstep, things like that?
Especially to that mechanism of injury, because I've interrupted so many times that they know if they proceed a certain way that the conversation is going to recur. So they've, you could teach a dog new tricks. Eventually, it'll stop if I don't keep doing this behavior.
So is there anything that I've forgotten to ask about what kind of services you provide or what kind of benefits might come out?
My office, we also do a lot of medical malpractice. We do a lot of timelines or chronologies for cancer cases, failure to diagnose, any medical surgical related issues, medical expert location for docs. We pretty much, if you have a medical legal issue, we'll help you with it.
Well, you know what, Tim? It's been a great 12 years. We look forward to at least 12 more. Thank you very much for being with us.
Oh, it's been great.
And hopefully we've given some explanation and insight into why having an RN present with you at a defense medical exam is really critical to litigation.